You know how sometimes you walk into a home and it just feels calm, welcoming, and kind of settled? It doesn't always mean the place is spotless or fancy, but there's this sense of order, warmth, and comfort in the air. That's what I want to share with you today. Little ways you can create that feeling in your own space without spending a fortune or exhausting yourself with endless cleaning. Just simple, intentional habits that make your home feel lighter and more beautiful every day. Before we get too cozy here, let me ask you, where are you watching us from? I always love knowing that. It makes this feel more like a real conversation instead of me just chatting into a camera. So, let's start with the first big secret. Less, but better. I know you've heard it before, but the truth is, most of us simply own too much. Too many mugs, too many sweaters, too many little trinkets that we forget about until we have to dust around them. The thing is, when you keep fewer things, you end up appreciating them more. It's almost like your home breathes easier, and so do you. Here's something practical you can try. Do a quick walk around your home, maybe with a cup of tea in hand. Look at the things sitting on shelves, on tables, tucked into corners, and just quietly ask yourself, do I use this, or does it genuinely make me smile? If it doesn't, maybe it's time to let it go. And don't feel like you need to tackle your whole house in one go. That's overwhelming. One of the best tricks I ever picked up is to set a timer for just 30 minutes. Pick one room, or even just one shelf, and find 5 things you can remove. Donate them, toss them, or pass them on to someone who'll use them. If you do that once a week, your home will slowly become lighter without you even realizing it. Now, once you start letting go of the extras, you can be a little more thoughtful about what you keep or bring in. And this is where the second secret comes in: choosing quality over quantity. I know it's tempting when you see a big sale or when you can grab 3 of something for the price of 1. But ask yourself, will I still want to use this 5 years from now? If the answer is no, it's not really a bargain. Think about it this way. One well-made set of kitchen towels that lasts for years is worth more than a drawer stuffed with flimsy ones that wear out after a few washes. A single sturdy wooden spoon feels better in your hand than a handful of cheap plastic ones that warp and crack. And don't worry, this doesn't mean you need to go out and replace everything right now. It's about slowly, carefully, choosing better over time, and then caring for those things so they last. It's really about valuing what you already own. And you know, while we're talking about what to keep and what to let go, I have to mention books and personal items. This one can be tricky because books and souvenirs often hold memories. But here's the honest question. Do you actually enjoy them? Or are they just taking up space? I went through my own shelves once and realized there were books I had no memory of even buying. That was my clue. They weren't adding anything to my life. A nice little trick is to sort your things into 3 groups: the ones you love and want to keep, the ones you're unsure about, and the ones you honestly don't even remember owning. Keep the first group, let go of the last, and give yourself a little time with the unsure pile. If you don't reach for them in a few months, that tells you something. The goal isn't to have bare shelves, it's to have shelves that tell your story. A few favorite books, a framed photo that really makes you smile, a souvenir that actually reminds you of a happy moment. That's enough. Empty space isn't wasted space. It gives your homeroom to breathe. Let me ask you something. If you had to choose just one object in your living room that you truly love, what would it be? That one piece that you'd never part with. I'd love to know, because that's the kind of thing that makes a home feel personal. And while you're thinking about that, I'll also remind you, If you're enjoying these tips, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. It helps the channel more than you know, and it means we can keep sharing these simple, cozy homemaking ideas together. Now that we've talked about keeping less and choosing things that actually matter, let's move on to the feeling of a home, the atmosphere. You can have the tidiest house in the world, but if the lighting feels harsh or the air feels stale, it won't be comfortable. On the other hand, the right little touches can make even an ordinary room feel inviting. Lighting is such a game changer. Honestly, it's one of the cheapest ways to completely shift the mood in your home. Overhead lights can be practical, but they rarely make a space feel cozy. If you've ever sat under a bright white ceiling light at night, you know exactly what I mean. It feels more like a waiting room than a living room. That's why adding a few table lamps or floor lamps can make such a difference. Place them at different heights, one on a side table, another lower down on a shelf, maybe a taller lamp near a chair. The layers of light soften the whole room. And please, skip the cool white bulbs. They can make a home feel cold and flat. Warm yellow bulbs, on the other hand, instantly add that glow we all love. You don't need expensive fixtures. Sometimes even a thrifted lamp with a new shade does wonders. And during the day, make the most of natural light. Pull back your curtains, open the blinds, and if you've got mirrors, use them to bounce the daylight around the room. It brightens everything without costing a cent. Another secret to atmosphere is scent. Now, I'm not talking about spraying strong artificial fragrances. That often feels more like covering things up. What really creates comfort are those natural, gentle scents that match the season. In summer, you might want herbs like rosemary or basil sitting in a little jar on the counter. In fall, simmer some orange slices, cinnamon sticks, and a few cloves on the stove, and your whole home smells warm and welcoming. Winter? A touch of vanilla or cedar is perfect, and spring is wonderful for light floral notes. One of my favorite little habits is to keep lavender sachets in wardrobes. They make your clothes smell lovely, and as a bonus, they keep moths away. If you like essential oils, a small diffuser near the entryway can greet you with a subtle scent as soon as you walk in the door. And here's the easiest one of all. Open your windows for 10 minutes every single day, even in winter. Fresh air clears away that stale house smell faster than anything else. And then there are flowers and greenery. Don't think you need to splurge on big bouquets every week. You absolutely don't. Even a single flower stem in a jar can lift a whole room. If you do buy a bouquet, don't just plop it in one vase. Divide it into smaller displays. A few stems in the kitchen, one on the nightstand, another by the bathroom sink. Suddenly, every corner feels a little cared for. And don't overlook what's right outside your door. A couple of sprigs of greenery, or even herbs from your own garden or grocery store, look charming in a little glass. Rosemary in a vase by the stove is practical and beautiful. Just remember to change the water daily and give the vases a quick rinse so they stay fresh. Some flowers, like lilies or gerberas, last especially long, so they're a good choice if you don't want the hassle of replacing them often. The beauty of these little touches, light, scent, flowers, is that they don't require perfection. A $20 lamp, a few sprigs from the garden, a pan simmering on the stove. Suddenly, the house feels alive. And isn't that the whole point? Not to make it look like a magazine, but to make it feel like home. One of the biggest lessons I've learned about keeping a home is this. It's not about those huge cleaning marathons. You know the ones, where you spend an entire Saturday scrubbing and then feel too tired to enjoy the clean house. The real secret is small, daily habits. Little things you do almost without thinking that keep the place tidy without ever letting it get out of control. For example, after you use the kitchen counter, wipe it right away. It takes maybe 15 seconds, but it keeps crumbs and sticky spots from building up. Same with dishes. If you've only got a glass or two in the sink, go ahead and wash them right then. It's much easier than tackling a mountain later. Another one. Before heading to bed, take just 10 minutes to walk through the main rooms and put things back in their place. Fold a blanket, straighten a chair, drop the mail where it belongs. You'd be amazed how much calmer the morning feels when you wake up to order instead of chaos. Here's a fun way to think about it. Those tiny tidy-ups add up to about 70 minutes a week. That's just over an hour, and yet it keeps your home feeling fresh without you ever needing to block off a whole day. It's a lot less overwhelming that way. Another trick that makes a surprising difference is keeping your dining table clear and ready. Now, I know how easy it is to let that table become a dumping ground for keys, mail, grocery bags, you name it. But when the table is cluttered, the whole room feels cluttered. Try this instead. Keep it mostly empty, maybe with just a small centerpiece. It could be a vase with a couple of flowers, a candle, or even just a folded cloth. Nothing complicated. When the table looks cared for, it makes your whole home feel ready for guests, even if those guests are just you and your family at dinner. And here's another thought. Don't save your good dishes or glasses only for special occasions. Use them. Every day can feel a little more special when you eat from plates you actually love. What's the point of owning beautiful things if they're just hiding in a cupboard? When the table feels like the heart of the home, you'll notice you naturally want to sit there more often, whether it's for meals, coffee, or even just to chat. Now let's talk about furniture and style, because this one can trip people up. A lot of us feel pressured to replace everything to update a room. But here's the thing. You don't need to throw out perfectly good furniture just because it's not brand new. Blending the old with the new is what gives a home personality. That mix of a sturdy old side table with a fresh new lamp on top, or a vintage chair next to a modern sofa, creates a kind of charm you can't buy in a matching set. If you want to freshen things up without spending much, focus on the details. New handles on old cabinets can make them look completely different. A couple of new pillow covers on the sofa, or a new throw blanket, instantly update the space. Even swapping out curtains for something lighter or heavier, depending on the season, changes the entire mood of a room. Don't be afraid of mismatched items either. They tell your story. Maybe you've got a hand-me-down dresser, a lamp you picked up years ago, and a rug you bought recently. Put them together, and suddenly the room feels like yours, not like a showroom. That mix of old and new is what makes a home feel lived in and full of character. And by the way, if you're enjoying these homemaking tips and they're sparking ideas for your own space, make sure you've subscribed to the channel so you don't miss more. And of course, hitting that like button really helps too. It's such an easy way to support what we're building here together. There's one last piece to all of this, and honestly, it might be the most enjoyable part. It's about letting the little things you already own bring joy into your everyday life. Too often, we save our nicest things for guests or special occasions, and meanwhile, we're eating off the chipped plate and drying our hands on the ragged towel. But what if every day was reason enough to use the good stuff? Think about it. Why not drink your morning coffee from your favorite cup instead of the one you don't care about? Why not set the table with fabric napkins once in a while, even if it's just for soup and sandwiches? It takes no extra effort, but it makes an ordinary Tuesday feel cared for. The same goes for sheets, for soap, for the little daily rituals. If you love the way something looks or feels, use it. Don't tuck it away in a drawer. And the funny thing is, those small upgrades don't cost anything extra. You already own these items. It's just about changing the mindset that beauty is only for rare moments. When you make your daily routines feel a little more special, you actually enjoy them instead of rushing through. Folding laundry feels better if you've got a soft basket you like. Washing your hands feels nicer with a soap you enjoy. It's not about perfection. It's about making the ordinary a little more pleasant. What I've noticed over time is that these habits, keeping less but better, choosing quality, filling the air with fresh scents, layering warm light, tidying a little each day, mixing old and new pieces, and celebrating the little joys, they don't just change how a home looks, they change how a home feels. And when your space feels calm, welcoming, and alive, you feel calmer too. A home doesn't need to be spotless or magazine-worthy. It just needs to feel loved. Every choice you make, from the lamp on the side table to the flower in the jar, adds up to that feeling. And when you walk in the door and breathe out because it feels good to be there, that's when you know you've created something truly special. So next time you're tidying up or setting the table, just remind yourself, it's not about doing more, it's about doing things with intention. And trust me, your home will thank you for it.